Hello and welcome to the 10th episode in this series, the Beer Chronicles, the show where I drink a beer and you watch. Now I haven't actually filmed this yet, this is what I'm doing now, but I predict this is going to be a long one. So I have prepared. Today's beer will be San Miguel, and this is a 660ml bottle, so this is going to last quite a bit. The reason I predicted this one was going to take a while is because this is actually a suggested video. The topic we're covering today is actually suggested by my friend Richard, who suggested an earlier one. He suggested the top 10 video games video that I did a bit back. So now he's got another one in. And this topic is quite simply, I'm going to tell you about myself. Yeah, he suggested for people who watch the channel but don't actually know me, it might be a good idea to just talk about me and let you get to know who I am as a person, and that is a very good idea, I think, and so that's what this episode's going to be about. And also anyone who does know me who still watches this might learn a thing or two. I actually don't know what I'm going to be talking about specifically. What I've done is I've looked online, I found a website called tagquestions.net. They've basically got this page of 371 random get-to-know-me questions, and I'm going to use this list of questions and answer them, and you'll find out about me from that. I predict this is going to be a long video, but don't worry, I do not plan on answering 371 questions. That's not going to happen. Basically, I'm going to go through the questions, I'm going to answer the ones I can. Any I can't think of a good answer to, or any that just don't seem interesting enough, I'll skip through to make room for the better questions. But I still reckon this one has potential to last quite a while, which is why I've used one of the bigger beers that I have. Yeah, that's basically what this is going to be. I'm going to be drinking this, so let's get started on that. I mean, it's a typical lager, but with a slightly richer, hoppier taste. I think San Miguel's one of those ones that most people who drink will be familiar with it, so there's not really much I can say on it. But yeah, it's just a rich, hoppy lager, and it's alright. So now that I've begun with that, I will begin with the questions, I suppose, and let's find out a bit more about me. And obviously I haven't double-checked these questions beforehand, so I don't know what's going to come up. There was no way I was going to sift through 371 questions, so these will be a surprise to me as well. But the answers probably won't be a surprise, because I assume I already know about myself, but I suppose we'll find out. Question 1. In fact, I'm not going to do question 1, question 2, I'm not going to bother numbering them because they might not necessarily relate to the numbers on screen, because like I say, I might not answer all of them, so, I'll just say the question. What is your full name? My full name is Mr. Brad William Parsons, Cert HE. That's right, I got post-nominals. Yeah, I have a certificate of higher education in business and media, so, I mean, it's not a diploma or anything, I'm not that highly qualified, but still. Smart enough that I get some extra things on the end of my name, so that's pretty cool. What does your name mean? It means that that's what people refer to me as when they address me. I've just explained what the Cert HE means. The Mr. refers to my gender. Brad is a given name that my parents decided, as is my middle name William, which is actually the same as my father's middle name. His name was Arthur William Parsons, and so I took the William. As in, I took the Willie joke in there somewhere. And then Parsons is the same name as my father. It was handed down to him from his father and his father before him. It's sort of a tradition that runs in our family that the name Parsons will be handed down, and then the men tend to keep that whilst the women will change their surname to another man that they marry. You may be familiar with the concept. Some other families tend to do the same thing as well. Are you named after anyone? Not in terms of Brad, as far as I know anyway, but William, like I said, is the same as my dad's middle name, so yeah. Does your name make any interesting anagrams? I've not really took the time to bother, but obviously Brad, you can arrange to Bard, which sometimes we joke about in Dungeons & Dragons, because Bard is a class. Other than that, I've not really took the time to think about it, and I can't be asked to do that now. If you had to change your first name, what would you change it to? don't think I really care. There isn't any particular kind of name that I'm like, I really wish I had that name. It's a label and I don't really care about it beyond that. I'm fine with Brad. It's what I've come to know. Why would I need to change it to anything else? If I absolutely had to change it, then I'd just want something simple and normal. I wouldn't want a fancy name or anything. I just want something standard, like Dan, or, you know, that kind of... It doesn't make you stand out, because I think, like, the really unique names are also really stupid. Where are you from? I am from my father's balls. I mean, I don't exactly know what it means by where are you from, because the next question is where were you born, and surely that's where you're from. I was born in Wordsley Hospital. Wordsley is a town in the UK if you're not from around the area. Where I'm from, when I was born, I then lived as a baby and young child in the town of Lye, and have since moved out of there, possibly for the better. Where did you grow up? Mostly Lye. And then after I moved, I grew up where I am now. Who did you look up to growing up? All the people who were taller than me, I suppose, which was most adults. There wasn't any person in particular who I can remember looking up to. And I might have looked up to someone, but I don't recall that information now. It was a while ago. Which of your parents are you closest to? This is an easy one, but also fairly morbid. I'm closest to my mother because my dad is unfortunately not with us anymore. He died a while ago. I did love my dad though. I was very close to him, and it is a shame that he is no longer with us, but that's just how it is right now, and will remain to be, I assume. Which of your parents are you more like? I'm definitely more like my dad, even like physically. I mean, not only do I also have a penis, but, you know, just facially I take on a lot of my dad's characteristics. Are your grandparents still married? On my mother's side, yes. On my father's side, they are also no longer alive anymore, so no. I actually never knew my granddad on my dad's side. I did know my nan though, and she was a lovely woman. What is your best physical feature? I think most people who know me personally should know what my answer to this will be. It's obviously the beard. Gotta love the beard. I'm the kind of person who does love a good beard. And if anyone else has a spectacular beard, I will go out of my way to praise them for it and try to stroke it as much as I can. No homo. What is your biggest fear? That's a fun question. It's going to get a bit morbid again. My biggest fear is that eventually I'm going to die. I mean, isn't that really where all fears stem from? If you're scared of anything, then deep down you're scared of it because you worry that whatever it is might lead to your end in some way. What is your eye colour? It's that. There's a lot of who is your favourites right now. Who's your favourite actor, actress, celebrity, musician? I'm going to skip through all them. Those, I don't have any one particular. There are groups of people who I really admire, and everyone else I don't really think about. In fact, the ones I really admire I don't think about most of the time. It's just when they are pointed out to me, I'm like, yeah, I really like them. And there isn't one in particular who ever stands out in any category, and it keeps changing all the time depending on recent things I've seen or heard. Or so, you know, I mean, I think favourite celebrity I could possibly answer, but again, it's someone who is no longer with us. I was, and even though he's dead, I still am a massive, massive fan of Rick Mail. He was actually an inspiration to me. I watch Bottom all the time, even to this day, and his style of comedy greatly influenced my style of comedy, and I don't think that's really been shown much in my YouTube videos because I haven't been making very comedy-centered videos, so you've not really seen that side of me much on this channel as far as I'm aware. But in my general day-to-day life, when I'm just making friends laugh, that is my style of humour. The Rick Mail, Adrian Emerson, Bottom style of humour, that is, you know, that's just me to a T, and that is Rick Mail specifically who has sort of nurtured me into that. What is your favourite colour? My favourite colour is black. There's no hidden meaning to that. It's just on the spectrum of colours. I like black. What is your favourite drink? I like a few different drinks. In terms of beers, Budweiser's my favourite lager. Bavums is my favourite bitter. In terms of soft drink, Pepsi Max, or when it's available, Crystal Pepsi, which it never is, but when it is, you know I love that stuff. I'm also a big fan of whiskies. One of my favourite whiskies is Jameson's Irish, and also I'm really getting into ryes lately. Woodford Reserve Rye, very nice rye. I do like some cocktails as well. An old fashioned, one of my favourite cocktails. Long Island iced tea, when you do that right, divine. Blue Lagoon, quick, easy to make. You'll know it if you've ever been to a Wetherspoons, and also very delicious. I mean, the one thing I drink more than anything is Pepsi Max. I get through bottles of that a day. And I don't mean the tiny little bottles, I mean like, you know, the big 2 litre bottles. I get through bottles of this a day. When I can get my hands on it, Iceland sometimes sell the big 3 litre bottles, and I get that. And I don't know why I'm doing this hand gesture, because 3 litres is big, but it's not that big. What's your favourite food? That's a tough one. I don't think there's one food that I would only eat that and nothing else. I do like a collection of different foods, but I do have the sort of meals that are on the top tier, which is obviously a pizza, the meatiest pizza I can get. Chinese takeaway, which I always have the same thing, young chow fried rice with chips and curry sauce. And who doesn't love a good steak? So when it comes to favourite foods, those 3 at the top. And then whichever one I'm actually in the mood for more at that particular moment becomes my favourite. But like everything else when it comes to favourites, it's in constant flux. What is your favourite holiday destination? Well, quite recently in my life there have been a couple of times when I've gone on a camping holiday to Shell Island in Wales with some of my friends, and that's always been a great time. And whenever we go there and then it's time to leave, I don't want to leave, I want to stay there. So yeah, I'd say that. Really enjoy going there. I'm sure we'll go again at some point. It's a great time. Favourite ice cream flavour? Neapolitan, you get 3 flavours in one. Favourite music genre? Do you stick metal in rock? Or do you think of metal and rock as separate genres? Because I think of rock as a sort of umbrella genre, and metal would fall within that in my mind. It's sort of a much harder rock. So I'd say my favourite genre is rock, and then that'll encompass all aspects of rock, which I'm really into. But if I had to narrow it down further, then I'm probably more into metal at this moment in my life than I am other forms of rock, although I do love them all. Heavy metal, power metal, that sort of area. I'm not into the sort of... I'm not into the screamo stuff. I can't get into the sort of music where you can't understand the words that are being screamed at you. That's not for me. The ones that are overly angry and just sort of yelling in pain to a tune, that's not my sort of thing. I do love power metal. That's my favourite kind of metal. Hard, catchy riffs and lyrics about stories about knights and magic and dragons and stuff. That's my sort of thing. Taking fantasy and making hard music out of it is perfect. What's your favourite physical activity? Intercourse. What's your favourite way to pass the time? Intercourse. What's your favourite social media channel? As someone who exists on the social media, I should probably answer this one. They all have problems. None are great at this moment in time. I use Facebook to keep in touch with people, but I generally tend to ignore the whole newsfeed aspect of that, and I just use Facebook for the messenger mostly. It's a great way to just contact people who you need to contact and just have chats with people. That's all I really use it for. And then when it comes to the more sort of media aspect of social media, it's about time we burped in this video, then I use YouTube. I watch videos on YouTube all the time. I post videos on YouTube from time to time, and I do think in the more recent years YouTube has sort of changed, not necessarily for the better, the way it's focused on its algorithms to try and give people what they think people want, but it doesn't always work, and then it does fuck over a lot of the actual content creators on YouTube who have to jump through hoops just to keep their success going amongst the fan base who already like them, but they still have to sort of now push at them in different ways to get them to see their content. It's like, it shouldn't be that way. They obviously like them, and now YouTube are stopping them from seeing the stuff they like because they think they don't like. It's fucking stupid. And then people who are new to YouTube, it's nigh on impossible for them to make a good start on there these days. You really just, it's pot luck. You have to just get lucky and hope that people start watching your stuff, and then you'll grow from there. But you can't really go into YouTube with the mindset of, I'm going to be successful on this platform, because it doesn't work. So this channel, I'm not successful on it, not by any stretch of the imagination, but that's not the point. I use this as a hobby. I'm not planning on making a career out of this, and so I'm happy for one person to see my stuff. I've had a couple of friends send me messages saying that they've been seeing these videos and really enjoying them, and I do really appreciate that. And as long as those people are enjoying what I do, I'll keep doing it, because that's all I need. I'm not trying to make an actual success of myself on this platform. It's just a way to output stuff that I want to output, and even if only one or two people see it, I'm happy. What was your favourite subject in high school? I was a little swot at school, and my favourite subject was maths because I was really, really good at it. What was your least favourite subject in high school? That was definitely history. I mean, right now, as a more mature adult person, I have a greater appreciation of history, but the stuff that we learnt in school wasn't stuff that I was interested in, and so I just didn't focus at all, and history was just my worst subject academically in terms of grades, and I just didn't enjoy it. But, you know, history is one of those things where the topic of history is interesting when you're studying it in your own personal time, because you study the stuff you want to study and therefore you are interested in it. But when certain aspects of history are just forced upon you academically that you don't actually care about, then it's just, I didn't enjoy it anyway. What was your favourite TV show when you were a child? It's hard to say which one in particular. I mean, I'll narrow it down to the big three: Simpsons, Pokemon, and Dragon Ball Z. I watched all three of those religiously as a child. I watch all three of those religiously now. Are you more likely to avoid conflict or engage it head on? Avoid. I'd rather avoid a conflict if I can help it. If I'm forced into a conflict, I won't shy away from it. But given the choice, I'll always go for the avoiding option if I can. Are you a dog person or a cat person? Definitely dog. I love dogs. Dogs are my favourite animal of all. But I do also like cats. If anyone has a cat, I will fuss and play with your cat. Cats are absolutely lovely. I do enjoy a good pussy, but dogs have always been my favourite. Are you a fan of any sports team? Not really. I don't follow sports in general. There are sports that I like, but I still don't take the time to watch them. If I'm with someone else and they're watching them, then I'll watch it and enjoy it. But I don't go out of my way to watch sports myself. I wouldn't call myself a fan of anything, but more of a patriotic thing rather than specifically for the sport. When England are playing in the World Cup, I will watch those matches, but I'm not really a fan of anyone. Can you close your eyes and raise your eyebrows? Yes. Does closing your eyes make it any more difficult? Are people not able to do that? Because I just assumed that was something that everyone could do. I mean, I know there's certain things that not everyone can do, like folding your tongue or wiggling your ears. But I never knew that raising your eyebrows while your eyes were closed was something that not everyone could do. I just assumed that was pretty standard. Can you touch it? Alright, I'll show you. Why should having your eyes closed make that any harder? Can you touch your nose with your tongue? No. Can you whistle? Yep. Can you dance? Not well. I can throw my body around a dance floor. Not in any way that anyone would find particularly impressive, though. Do you remember your dreams? Sometimes I do, most of the times I don't. Do you sleep with the lights on or off? This is a more interesting question to me than it probably should be. But the reason is, given the choice, I sleep with the lights off. But nowadays I tend to sleep with them on more than off because I work early mornings. I start work at 3 a.m. and so I get up at about 1 a.m. to start getting ready and leave to go to work. And so I don't really have a proper sleep on the night I go to work, and I'll sleep when I get back in the day. Then before I go to work early in the morning, I will have a bit of a nap before I go to work. And so what I tend to do is I sleep with the light on so that when my alarm gets me up to get ready for work, it's easier for me to wake up and get up. Whereas if the light's off, then I feel like I'm more likely to just fall back asleep again. So that's why I do that. But given the choice, if I'm just going to sleep and don't have to get up early the next day, then I sleep with the light off. Do you take any pills or medication daily? No. Do you prefer kissing or cuddling? It's actually a fairly tough choice. They're both very nice. I think cuddling's the sort of thing that you generally do more often, but kissing's one of those things where if you're in the mood to kiss, then that is something that cuddling just can't give you. So it really depends on the mood. I think I'll be in the mood to cuddle more often, but when I'm in the mood for a kiss, it is more powerful. Do you prefer that people shoot straight with you or temper their words, and why? Shoot straight. I don't need things sugar-coated. Tell me what you think, exactly how you think it, and I can work with that. I understand people who tell white lies and sugarcoat things are trying not to hurt your feelings. I do genuinely understand it and get that. But my feelings aren't so fragile. And I think further down the line, lies can lead to worse problems. In the long run, it's going to be better to just be honest with people. Do you prefer Titanic or The Notebook? I'm not a massive fan of either, but Titanic's pretty good. I'd probably say Titanic. Do you have a catchphrase? Not really. No. I used to start off my old YouTube videos with, "Hello people of YouTube, I'm Brad Parsons of Polarity Products." Recently I decided to axe that because I didn't really like doing that all the time. It's not really a catchphrase. That was just that was back when everyone on YouTube needed an intro phrase for their YouTube videos, something to stand out and that everyone watching knew. And I just felt like everyone did it and I sort of needed one of my own, and I just settled on that, and I didn't like it because it wasn't natural. One thing I'm really trying to do in my videos lately is to just be my natural self. And when even your first line that you say in your video is scripted, then that just sets the mood for the whole video to not be natural, and I don't enjoy that, so I just stopped doing it. I didn't think it was necessary. So no, I don't really have a catchphrase at all in life. Oh, actually, recently, when I go out with my friends on a night, sometimes we play board games while we're out to pass the time. We've started playing chess a fair bit at the pub, and I've started just throwing in the catchphrase, "You just got chessed." It may not sound as funny when I explain it to you like that, but when you're there and you checkmate them and then you just go, "You just got chessed," it can be quite amusing in the moment. So yeah, that's my catchphrase, "You just got chessed." Feel free to use it. Do you have a garden? Yes. Do you have a tattoo? No. Do you have any allergies? Yeah, during the hay fever season, that really gets to me. But that's pretty much it. I think I only have like hay fever. That is it. That's the only allergy I have. Do you have any pets? Yeah, I have a dog. A little Staffordshire Bull Terrier named Misty, and she's not a pure Staff. She's crossed with something else, but we're not entirely sure what with. She's a little mongrel, I can tell you that. But she's a lovely, well-behaved dog. Do you carry a donor card? No. I'm not an organ donor or anything, but I do donate blood from time to time. But I don't have a card for it. Do you have a best friend? If so, then who? I have a collection of best friends. Most of them you will have seen on this channel if you've watched any earlier videos from the channel. Who sent the last text message you received? Hermes parcel delivery. Who would you tell first if you found a dead body in your garden? Probably the police. What's your most used swear word? I don't keep a tally, but it's very easy to just slip the word fucking into any sentence. So probably fucking. What is your star sign? I am a fucking Libra. What scares you about aging? Mainly the fact that I will eventually stop. But other than that, I'm also not particularly looking forward to all the aches and pains that come with it, and just the general not being able to do stuff that you used to be able to do. How difficult is it for you to be honest, even when your words may be hurtful or unpopular? It's not difficult for me to be honest. I generally tend to be honest with pretty much everything I say for the most part. Sometimes when I know that what I need to say is going to be hurtful or unpopular, it can be difficult to say those things, but I won't resort to lying. I will still say the honest thing. How difficult is it for you to forgive someone who refuses to apologise? It's very difficult. How can you forgive someone who feels no remorse? I can forgive people for most bad things that they do, but I think not accepting that what you did was a bad thing is really the worst aspect of that. It definitely makes them seem like the sort of people who would just do it again. So if you know they'd likely do it again, then how can you forgive them for doing it? Because if you forgive someone for doing something that would likely do it again, and you've shown that you're willing to forgive them doing that, then that's just showing them that it's okay for them to do it. How many countries have you been to? This is weird because the UK is one country that is split into several countries. So it depends on how you want to define country around here. I live in England and I have been to Wales. So I don't know whether or not you would count that as two countries or one. But other than that, I've also been to France. So the answer is either 2 or 3, depending on how you feel about the Wales bit. How many pairs of shoes do you currently own? Do you count slippers? If you count slippers, then 3. If you don't count slippers, then 2. I basically have my shoes and my trainers. How many rings before you answer the phone? It depends on when I get to the phone. I don't leave it for a predetermined amount. I just answer it when I can. How old were you when you found out that Santa wasn't Wait, what? My whole life's been a lie. Would you ever consider living abroad? I don't think I would. I mean, there are plenty of places abroad I'd like to visit, but living there isn't really the sort of thing I'm interested in. I don't necessarily agree with all the customs of the country I live in, but I'm used to them. And I have friends here who I wouldn't want to move away from. So, no, I don't think I would like to. Have you ever suffered a fracture? Never. I've never fractured or broken any part of my body. I'm actually quite proud of that, to be fair. Because I've done some stupid things when I was younger, but never really properly injured myself, so that's good. Have you ever dated 2 people at a time? No, never have, never will. I do not agree with cheating at all. I think if you're with one person and then you are interested in another person, you need to decide which one you're going for and stick to that. Do not mess around with 2 people at the same time. That is just wrong. Have you ever ridden on a motorbike? And yes, that is one of the stupid incidences of me in my younger years that fortunately didn't lead to a fracture or break. I rode a friend's motorbike once, didn't go well, and I will not get on one again. Have you ever taken self-defense lessons? No, I've never taken any self-defense lessons, although it is something I'd be willing to do. It seems very worthwhile. It's a great way to stay fit, and just knowing how to defend yourself is always a useful skill. Hopefully it's one that you'd never need, but should you ever need it, you will be thankful that you know it. So I'd definitely consider doing that at some point. I mean, I'm quite big and I'm fairly strong, and I do know how to defend myself, but I've never actually professionally learned how to in any specific way. Have you ever read any of the Harry Potter, Hunger Games or Twilight series, and which one is your favourite? Well, my favourite is definitely Harry Potter, because it's the only one I've read. Hunger Games isn't really on my radar. It's one that I would consider reading at some point, but I'm not in any rush to read it. Twilight, I just want to avoid. I'm really not into the whole concept of Twilight. I've not read it, but I know about it, and from what I know about it, it's just not very good. But yeah, big fan of Harry Potter. Really big fan of Harry Potter, the books and the films and the games. If you've watched any of the old videos on this channel, you'll know that I've played through Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets on the PlayStation 1. Well, I say I've played through. Aiden really played through those, but I have played through them in my personal life a lot when I was a kid. Big fan of them. Yeah, love all aspects of Harry Potter and the whole Wizarding World universe, but the books for me are definitely like the core of it. They are the main thing that I enjoy. Massive fan of the books. What flavour of tea do you enjoy? Strangely enough, my favourite flavour of tea would be tea flavoured. I don't really go into flavoured teas a lot. I'm not massively into that. When I drink tea, I want it to just be tea. And they bring out all these different teas now with all these different flavours, and some of them can be alright, but they're not really for me. They'll never be El Original tea. In terms of brand, there are several brands that I'll drink and enjoy. Things like Yorkshire tea, Tetley tea, even something like Asda's own brand tea is actually a very nice tea. Twinings Earl Grey is very nice. I do enjoy a good cup of Earl Grey from time to time. Started drinking dark grey, which is really nice as well, because my friend who really likes Earl Grey got a box of dark grey thinking he'll really like that, and then he didn't like it, so he just gave it me and I started drinking it. I was like, this is actually really nice, I don't know why you don't like it. But my personal go-to brand of tea has always been PG. I love PG tips. So much so I've even got the monkey. What's your reaction towards people who are outspoken about their beliefs? What conditions cause you to dislike or conversely enjoy talking with them? My reaction towards people who are outspoken about their beliefs is one of respect. I am personally outspoken about my beliefs, and if anyone else is outspoken about theirs, I try to respect that as much as I can. Their beliefs may be different to mine, but that's absolutely fine. There is no reason why their beliefs should be any less valid than my own. And so I do always try to give them respect. What conditions cause me to dislike talking with them are when they do not show me the same respect. When I try to engage them in conversation and I try to listen to them and their points, and then I try to explain my points and maybe counter some of their points, and they don't want to hear it. All they want to talk about is their beliefs and how they're right. I dislike that. And conversely, I enjoy talking to them when they're willing to have a proper discussion or debate and both sides can show respect to each other. Then I genuinely enjoy talking about beliefs to other people. It's one of my favourite things to talk about when you can have a civil conversation about it. Maybe we'll talk about beliefs at some point on this series. I don't know. It's one of those things that I'd love to get into, but it's always a worry that it's going to become too controversial if I try. What is under your bed? Scary monsters? Oh no, there's nothing under my bed. Don't look under my bed. There's no need to look under my bed. There's nothing there, I swear. What is on the walls of the room you're in? The beer poster of this series. Another poster over there that has phrases about beer. And a poster of Heath Ledger as the Joker from The Dark Knight. Also an English flag, which I've had for years actually and should probably throw away by now. Same as that, to be fair, but at least that one's serving a purpose now. Where do you buy your jeans? That's an odd question. I just buy standard denim jeans from Asda. The clothes there are okay quality, fairly cheap, and for those of you who don't know, I work there, so I get a bit of a discount as well. Might as well take advantage of that. What was the first movie you remember seeing? I'm not sure about the first movie in general. The first movie I remember seeing at the cinema was that old animated, like the 3D animation dinosaur movie. Try to remember the name of it now. It was Dinosaur. Yeah, that's the first one I remember seeing at the cinema. Went to see that with my parents, and I think I enjoyed it. But it was so long ago that I don't remember anything about it. What do you like about your home? It has all of my things in it. What do you love about living in your neighbourhood? I don't love living in my neighbourhood. It's a bit of a shithole, to be honest. Time to usually get up in the morning. I've been through this earlier. If I've got work, I'll get up at about 1 o'clock. If I don't have work, then I'll get up about 9 or 10. What's the first book you remember reading? Probably Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. I think that's the first one I remember. Kind of books do you like to read? Good ones. Fiction, fantasy, stuff with a good story. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the Harry Potter series. I also love the works of Tolkien, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So yeah, that sort of general area. Was the last book you read? It was actually All Flesh is Grass, which is one of the Doctor Who books from the Time Lord Victorious saga thing that they've done recently. The two books that they did for that night, The Full and the Dead and All Flesh is Grass, pretty good. I can recommend them. What are books on your shelf that are begging to be read? I've got a few actually that I need to start reading, and I don't know which one I'm going to get into next. I've got one of the Barry Trotter books. I want to read that and see if that's actually any good. I recently found the entire collection of Sherlock Holmes from Arthur Conan Doyle, which I've never read before, but I found it in a charity shop for £10, and I thought I might as well take advantage of that. So yeah, I want to start reading those as well. That will probably be the next one I read, to prefer A Study in Scarlet. It's fairly short as well, so it shouldn't take too long to get through it. What book do you remember as being important to you? Probably, I'd have to say the final Harry Potter book, The Deathly Hallows. That came out on the weekend. I got it as soon as it came out. Finished it by the end of that weekend. It only took me 2 days to read. I was just that into it. It was an amazing end to the saga. Truly, truly love that book. Very well written. J.K. Rowling, you did an amazing job with that. Absolutely phenomenal. It's just a shame that you turned out to be a bit of a shit person in the end, but your books are great. What is the last film you saw? Just a few days ago, I went to see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings at the cinema. It's actually really good. I do really, really recommend it. If you're an MCU fan, then you definitely need to see it, because it's a great film in the series. It gets my recommendation. What's the last movie you saw at the cinema? That would be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. What's the last thing you downloaded onto your computer? So much porn. No. Probably the latest Doctor Who Big Finish audio that I got. I can't remember what that one was, but whatever was the latest one of those that I got, it would have been one I downloaded last. Actually, I think that was the Solitaire Companion Chronicle, the one starring Charlie Pollard when she meets the Celestial Toymaker. I listened to that actually, and it's very, very good. I do highly recommend that if you're a Doctor Who fan. If you're a Doctor Who fan and you haven't listened to Big Finish, I recommend Big Finish in general. It is an amazing expansion to Doctor Who, and you really owe it to yourself to listen through some of those stories. Some of them are so phenomenal that they are better than some of the stuff in the actual televised series. They are really, really fantastic. One particular one that springs to mind is Paul McGann's Chimes of Midnight. Fucking amazing. And also, if you want to go more of the sort of quirky comedy side, I can highly recommend The Holy Terror from Colin Baker. It caught me off guard with how fucking brilliantly funny it was, because I wasn't expecting it going in. What was the last thing you watched on TV? I don't really watch TV anymore. I haven't watched TV properly for years. But if we consider sort of television shows that you watch on the internet to be TV nowadays, then it would be the latest episode of Marvel's What If on Disney+. Which, as of recording, the latest episode was the 4-episode What If 4 Were an Only Child, where he comes down to Earth and just throws a party. That was the latest thing I watched, which I actually watched earlier today. So, yeah, it was a good one. I enjoyed it. What language besides your native language would you like to be fluent in? I think I'd like to be fluent in Japanese, because I enjoy Japanese culture. and I'd like to be able to watch some Japanese anime in Japanese and understand what was being said. Also, I'd like to be fluent in Mandarin just because that would be fucking impressive. I'd like to be fluent in Mandarin because it is the most difficult language, and if I was fluent in it, then that'd just be awesome. But I think I would get more use out of knowing how to speak Japanese. What religion will you raise your children to practice? I won't raise them to practice any religion. I'm not religious myself. I'm also not going to sort of force atheism on them. I will not introduce them to any religion. I will just let them learn in their life, and any beliefs that they happen to start to express, I will allow that. Everyone's entitled to their beliefs. Even members of your own family are entitled to their own beliefs, even if they're against your own. Belief is the sort of thing that should never be forced, because you can't believe something just because someone tells you to believe it. It has to be something that you actually believe deep down. Let's just say, for example, there is a God, and let's say he's the Judeo-Christian God. If I don't believe in God, but you're telling me that I have to believe in him, and so I start going off and doing all your services, following your rituals just because I've been told I have to do this, by the time I die, if God does exist, he will know if I was just doing it just because you told me to and didn't actually believe it deep down. Belief is the sort of thing that can't be demanded because you either believe or you don't. The only thing you can do is convince, but you cannot force. And I'd never force any child of mine to follow any certain belief or lack of belief. If they believe something, then I will allow them to believe it. If they don't believe in something, then woohoo, another one on my team. What was the first concert you ever attended? That would probably be when my brother took me to see Beady Eye in Manchester, and that was a good night. I really enjoyed that. What was your first ever cell phone? Well, we don't really call them cell phones here, we call them mobile phones. But yeah, my first ever mobile phone was the Nokia 3310. And a bloody good phone it was too. What word do you use to address a group of people? Guys, folks, or any other word? I don't know, I've not really thought about that before. Just trying to imagine how a group of people. Hey cunts. I suppose it depends on the situation more than anything. Probably guys. Hey guys, how you doing? You know, that sort of thing. Yeah. Guys, cunts, my minions. Just depends on the situation. What is the best part of your job? Definitely the people I work with. I've developed some great friendships in my job, and I hope that when either myself or they are no longer working there, the friendships will continue. There are some people there who I truly don't just consider to be work friends, but do consider to be friends. I work with a great group of people, and sometimes it really does just help you get through the shit that you otherwise have when working in retail. What are some of the different jobs that you've had in your life? The job I have now is actually my first ever job, really. I mean, I've done work experience when I was in school, when I was in secondary school or high school, you may know it as. I actually worked at a place called Kings Winford Tyres, which is a place in Kings Winford that works on cars, changes their tyres mainly, but other stuff as well. So yeah, I worked there. And then when I was at university, I had to do work experience again, so I worked in my previous college where I just worked in their administrations department. But my first actual I have left education and I'm getting a job kind of job, the kind of job that you get paid to do, is the job that I'm working now, which is working as a personal shopper at Asda. Do you love your job? Love is a very strong word. No, I don't love my job, but it's a job like any other. I don't hate my job. It's fine. It's a job. It is a thing I do to receive payment, and I will continue doing it for a while because it works for me. Well, I work for them. Yeah, it's fine. Like I say, a job's a job. I do what I got to do. It's okay. Like I say, the people I work with are great, and I do love it for that. What is the hardest part of your job? Probably the job aspect of it. You know, actually having to do work is the hardest part of probably any job. What was your first job? Refer to one of my previous answers. What was one of the worst things that could happen to you? Probably dying would be pretty bad. I don't think I could ever recover from that, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to have to go for that. What app do you use the most? probably Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, one of the two. So I mainly use apps and social media in general just to contact people. So it'd be one of those. Describe yourself in a single sentence. I'm a stupid moron with an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt. What did you do for your last birthday? As far as I can remember, I just went out for a meal and then drinks afterwards. That's generally what I tend to do when my birthday comes around. It'll be my birthday again soon, actually, but this year I will be 30, which is a bit of a milestone, so I don't know if I'll do something different or just the same as before. What do you call carbonated drink called? How do you sentence structure? Carbonated drink I call pop. Fizzy pop. What do you consider unforgivable? I consider it unforgivable to be a label given to a situation where someone's done something so bad that you can't quite bring yourself to forgive them for it. Is there any item you collect? Yeah, I collect a few things, mainly films and games in a particular franchise. I collect the Doctor Who DVDs, I collect a lot of Dragon Ball things, DVDs, mangas, Harry Potter stuff, Lord of the Rings stuff, that kind of thing. Any film or game or book franchise that I'm into, then I will collect all of them. I don't really tend to go outside that in terms of I don't buy things like models and stuff and just aesthetic cosmetic stuff to represent the things that I'm into. I just buy the actual things themselves and just consume that. So yeah, that's the sort of stuff that I collect. Are you a hoarder? Oh, most definitely. My room is full of so much shit now. Quite frankly, I could do with getting rid of some of it, but then when it comes to actually having a bit of a clean out, you pick up the thing that you're never going to look at again for the next few months and think, I can't get rid of this. It's part of my collection. What is something most people don't know about you? I'm not sure. I'm normally quite open about anything that people want to know, so it just have to be something obscure or something from my childhood that very rarely gets brought up. I don't know what that would be. It's probably just something really basic and obscure that most people don't know, but let's try and think of something a bit more interesting that you might not know. I used to have a pet pig. That's quite interesting. A few people do know that, but most people, like 7 billion people on the planet, I'm pretty sure most of them don't know that I used to own a pig. Well, not me personally, it was like the family pig. His name was Rolo, and I used to take him his food out because I was the only one who wasn't scared of him biting my toes. Everyone else was too nervous to go near him for some reason. For that, I don't know why he never bit my toes, and I don't think he would have bit anyone's, but for some reason everyone seemed to think that he would. He's actually a very lovely pig, I do miss him. I'd definitely get a pig again if I could. Wonderful animals. When did you immediately click with someone you just met? Why, and what was the long-term result? I'm not entirely sure on the why, but one time I was on holiday in Hereford. We went to a caravan site that had a fishing pool next to it, and there I met a boy named Stephen. We both went to the ice cream truck that had pulled up and went to get ice cream, met each other by there, and just sort of immediately clicked. I'm not sure why. It's just because we were both stand-up guys, you know. So yeah, we got talking, and it turns out that when we're not on holiday in Hereford, we actually live very close to each other. What are the odds that two people who live that close to each other would meet somewhere completely different? So yeah, we exchanged numbers. We went home after the holiday was finished. We both lost each other's numbers. Ended up not getting in touch again until we both went to the same college on the same course, coincidentally enough. So we ended up meeting each other again. Both explained to each other that we'd each lost our numbers, and now we are the best of friends, and I still see him regularly. He's even showed up on this channel before. One that comes to mind is he was in the Crystal Pepsi video, also in the Chili Challenge. If you could meet any one person from history or currently alive, who would it be? It would definitely be someone who's currently alive. I think that would be a lot more fun. If you could save just one, would you rather save humanity or the Earth? Now that's a bit of a stupid question. I mean, it'd have to be the Earth, because if you let the Earth get destroyed, then humanity goes along with it, surely. Unless it's something like you can save humanity by moving them to a different planet. And then you've got the whole sort of aspect of, well, yeah, the planet's fucked, but thanks to you, you have managed to extend the human race's lifespan and expand them on. And I don't know, thinking about it from that aspect, I don't know which one I'd rather save. Probably humanity, I suppose. I'd rather they both continue to exist. When was the first time you were on a plane? I've never actually been on a plane. I have no issues with getting on a plane. I would gladly get on a plane, but I've just never been on a plane. When was the last time you cried? Earlier during the recording of this video, when I found out that Santa isn't real. When was the last time you got in a fist fight? That would have been all the way back in school. Like I said earlier, I try to avoid conflict if I can help it, so I don't get in a lot of fights. Is anyone in your family in the army? No one living, but I have had family members be in the army before. My dad used to be in the army, one of my brothers used to be in the army. I personally have never been in the army and don't plan on it, but I do have respect for people who do join the army and protect our country. I don't necessarily have respect for the country for the kinds of things that they send them to do, but the actual people themselves in the army, full respect to you. Pick one, a comedy movie or a horror movie. Comedy, I like a good laugh. Chicken or beef? That's actually a tough one. I think beef is probably the tastier meat, but chicken is so versatile, it has so many uses. You can use chicken in pretty much everything. So I don't know, it's a tough one, but just because of the magnitude of things that you can use it for, it's probably going to have to be chicken. Coke or Pepsi? Like I said before, I am definitely a Pepsi man. Pepsi man! Exceptional strength or intelligence? As someone who's... I haven't built up strength by exercise, but as a big guy, I'm innately fairly strong. No stronger than anyone who actually puts in the effort, but in terms of people who don't put in the effort, I'm just naturally strong because of my size. And also as someone who is fairly intelligent, I think. I do place a lot more pride and importance on my intelligence over my strength. So I think if any of them was going to be exceptional, I would much rather it be intelligence. I think that's a lot more important. Forgiveness or vengeance? As I've said, someone who likes to avoid conflict if at all possible. I think forgiveness is a lot more important than vengeance. There is no point in carrying hate in your heart constantly for something. Just forgive and move on. And sometimes forgiving and moving on can be the best vengeance that you can have. If someone's done something to spite you, quite often the best thing you can do is to show them that you don't even care. Free healthcare or free education? Fuck you, that's a tough one. They're both very important. I absolutely 100% agree that we should always have free healthcare. That should just be a right of everyone. But I feel the same about education as well. And I do think it's important that, you know, people are educated, and they have to be educated from a young age where they're more, you know, they're drawing in more information, absorbing more. It's a tough one. They're both highly important. We need both of them, but if I could only pick one, education, it would have to be education. Kill or be killed? I'm not a violent man. I do not have any murderous intent in my heart. But I'm going to have to pick kill, purely because that is the one result of the two that doesn't end in me being dead. Meat or fish? I love both, but out of the two, meat. I mean, in my mind, I consider fish to be a meat anyway. It's the flesh of an animal. But yeah, it's gonna have to be meat. I love good steak, chicken, lamb, beef, all that good stuff. All of it. Give me the meat. I want the meat. Monopoly or chess? I enjoy both of them, but chess to me is a far superior game. Requires a lot more skill, a lot more thought. Chess is just a great game. I love chess. And I love being able to say, you just got chessed. Nike or Adidas? I don't really wear much branded things these days. It's not my sort of style. but out of the two, I would normally opt for Nike. No particular reason, I just prefer the designs on Nike most of the time. In any given situation, it will be which specific item of clothing looks the best. That would be, you know, the most important, more so than what name is on it. But 9 times out of 10, that tends to be Nike for me. Texting or phone calls. I think if you want to have a conversation with someone, then the best way to do it is to actually talk to them rather than keep exchanging messages over and over and over and over again, when you can get so much more information to them quicker just by talking to them. So phone call. But if you have one short message that you want to give to someone, there is no reason to waste time with a phone call then. That's when text messages are perfect and should be used. So it really does depend on the kind of conversation you're trying to have. They each have their own place for different reasons. Vanilla or chocolate? I do love vanilla, but I'm going to have to go with chocolate. Would you rather be able to play 10 different instruments beautifully or speak 10 different languages fluently? Well, I think the 10 different languages would have a lot more practical use. To me personally, in my day-to-day life, I would much prefer being able to play the 10 different instruments. I think that would satisfy me a lot more. I do love music, and yeah, I'm going to say that I would much prefer to be able to play 10 different instruments beautifully. Would you rather drink a carbonated drink or a fruit juice? Carbonated. As said before, I am a... Would you rather have $1 million right now or 1 penny doubling every day for 30 days? It's only 30 days. I think I could last 30 days without spending all of the millions. So yeah, I would rather do that, because by the end of it, I will end up with like 5 times as much. Would you rather have an American accent or a British accent? Looks like we're ending on this question. I would rather have a British accent. Number one, it's the accent I'm used to having because I happen to have a British accent. And number two, let's face it, America, you're great at a lot of things, but we sound a lot better than you. Yeah, but I love you, really. Okay, that is that then. I finished my drink, so we'll end it there. We were near the end, there were only a few questions left, and I probably would have skipped most of them anyway. So yeah, I'd say overall, it's been a success. Hopefully, you've got to learn a lot more about me now. I don't know if any of that was actually interesting to you or not. I hope it was. Also, although I'm familiar with San Miguel, I can't actually remember whether or not I've actually drunk one before today. So this very well may have been a new drink for me. Not 100% sure on that, but as far as I remember, it's a new drink. And it's certainly a new drink to cross off the poster. So yeah, that's another one down. Richard, thank you again for your suggestion on today's topic. Hopefully this video lived up to your expectations and you enjoyed it, and hopefully other people watching it enjoyed it too. And if any of you have any more suggestions, then please do leave a comment and let me know. And I will talk about what you want me to talk about if I have anything to say. Rich, you keep them coming as well, because you're coming up with some good ideas. If you did like this video, then please press like down below to let me know that you liked it. And if you didn't like it, then feel free to press dislike. I will not be offended. Also, pick one of the questions that I've covered today and leave a comment down below answering it about yourself. It'll be good for me to learn a little bit more about the kinds of people who are watching this series. I think that'd be quite fun. So please feel free to do that. If you have enjoyed this and any of the videos in this series and want to see more, then please subscribe to the channel to get notified when new ones go up. And to actually get notified when new ones go up, press the notification bell as well. Other than that, there's nothing else to say. This has been a pretty long video, so I'm just going to end it now.